Hello, and welcome back to Hellow Media. We're meeting a real-life actress today. How exciting! Eliza's acting credits include over 20 short and feature films and providing training into script analysis and character creation for teens and adults alike. We hope you enjoy our chat with Eliza.
What made you want to get into the industry?
I have to go back pretty far in the past for that, to be honest, because I always wanted to be in the industry. Dancing, acting, I loved all of it. But I do remember when I was really young, I was starting to just show a little bit more interest in that sort of thing. My family loves sport, so I loved Disney films, I loved everything like that. And my beautiful mother actually took me to a play. It was called Hello Dolly, which was a big musical. And I remember sitting there and going, I want to do what these people do. I loved that they got to express and move and pretend to be someone different. I don't remember this, but I've heard that I came out and I announced to everybody that was in the audience that I was going to be an actress. Seeing other people do it, just falling in love with stories, and just the idea of getting to be anyone, I always loved that.
Tell us about your time on Young Talent Time, pardon the pun.
So by the time I was there, it wasn't the TV show anymore, but we did do tours in terms of like we would perform at different places and events and stuff like that. So I was pretty young when I was there. I'd never danced or done anything like that before. So I remember being in a room with people who'd been doing it since they were about 3. And I felt like I had so much I needed to learn to try and catch up. So I remember having to work hard and having to really focus and to practice, but I loved it so much. And I remember when I was first allowed to be in the performance group, which means you got to do the shows and that sort of thing. It was probably the most excited I think I'd been at that point in my life.
Oh, so what kind of places and events did you do when you're at the school?
I remember doing the AFL Grand Final was one that we would do a bit. We would do all of like the parades that would happen in the city. We did Moomba Parade, we did do Moomba. We did do Good Friday Appeal, that was something that would go on TV and things like that. So yeah, lots of fun. It was a very fun way to spend my childhood, definitely.
What was a favourite TV show?
One that I really loved watching when it was on was Stranger Things. I'm not very good with scary things, but Stranger Things I thought was incredible.
Yeah, ABC Kids for kids.
Probably Bluey would be my kids' ones that I would have to go to. I like ABC, but I'm a bit of a Disney gal.
Oh yeah.
Now that I've got a baby, I've got a great excuse to watch
Nice.
lots of kids' things again.
What are your favourite?
If I have to say who do I go back to, I love David Bowie, and I've always loved David Bowie. I like Radiohead as well. I play a lot of Taylor Swift, to be honest. It depends on what I'm working on as an actor, because I often create a playlist that I think suits the character. So that might change around what I'm listening to. So then I love instrumental stuff, and I love soundtracks from movies because they're really powerful and big and exciting. So it changes.
Can you tell us a bit about the process that you go through?
It kind of depends on what piece you're working on. Part of when I'm a teacher is that I help people with their auditions as well as doing my own ones. So it's different whether you're doing theatre, film and TV, or a commercial, which we call a TVC. TVCs are the most auditions that we do. Sometimes we do 3 or 5 a week. So we have to work really fast on those ones. I have a setup very similar to this at my home. So that's where I do my auditions and I film other people's as well. With a commercial, you're kind of trying to find the cues really quickly. We have to mime a lot of the action, which always feels so silly. But just doing that as quick as we can, because often we've got to send it back to them in about 24 hours. Sometimes we have about 3 days, but it's usually quick. So if you're working or doing something, you've got to try and do it before you go to bed or that sort of thing. So commercials are very quick. When you're auditioning for film and TV, they give you more time. If you're lucky, they might give you the full script. But often we're just given what's called the sides. A couple of scenes, they'll give us a breakdown of the character, and it's our job to do as much research as we can to try and work out what they need in it. We have to learn every single line. We can't obviously use our scripts. So we usually have about 5 days to do that. We have a reader, which is somebody who'll be opposite the camera, and they'll play the other role, but it's just filmed on us. So in terms of trying to find the character, I have a process that I use as an actor and as a teacher that's all about about trying to find out what is driving the character in life. So we call that a super objective. So for some people it might be power or love or freedom or different things like that. So we try to find what's driving the character, and then as much as possible we try to find that in the scene. And this is going very actory, but our goal is to try and change the other person in the scene. So we stop thinking about ourselves as much as we can, and we just try to affect the other person who's in the scene. For theatre, again, you're given even more time usually, and theatre you're always given the whole script. So that's when you get to really be a big geek and just go through it and find every single word in it. At a theatre audition, you're expected to know the play inside out.
We just talked about the audition process.
Yeah.
But what about the process as a whole?
It's a long process, to be honest. If you're doing a commercial, it's a long day of filming. It's often between 10 to 12 hours that you're there for, and we're sort of expected to be present and ready the whole time. We sit around a lot, which is harder than it sounds, to be honest. We have to sit and wait and be just ready to go when they want us. So that's quite long, and then once we've filmed, we're this tiny little part, and then it gets handed over to the amazing team that edit and add sound and everything like that, and that takes a long time. So sometimes it can take 6 months for something to come out, for you to ever see it. A full film, it takes around a year for it. And then if they're wanting it to be in festivals, there's a whole process of them getting it in that. So sometimes you don't get to see it for 2 years or that sort of thing. Theatre obviously is much more instant, but that's sort of the medium that's really for actors. So that's where we're doing so much work. I can be a little bit obsessive, I think, in the process. So I like to really work out who the character is. So I do lots of meditations and things like that to help me find my character. I like to do improvs with the other actors if there's the space. Theatre has a really big rehearsal period. So if you're lucky enough to be getting paid for it, it's usually about 6 weeks that you're rehearsing, which sounds quick, but it's 6 weeks every single day. When it's an independent piece, sometimes you're rehearsing for 3 to 5 months. So it's a really long process. Theatre tends to be a lot more of a team thing where you're really working with the director. Film, you're expected to turn up and just be ready to go straight away. And so your job as an actor in film is knowing it inside out, having really strong choices as the character, but then you have to be really malleable on the set. I've done some things where we've had to do about 20 takes. And we're expected to just, anything that the director suggests, we're expected to be able to say yes and try it and give it a go.
We are here. We heard you know a bit about health and wellness. Can you tell us a bit about that, please?
I think it's really important for actors and creatives to be really healthy, especially if we do play roles that are a bit sad or upset. I think it's really important that we can find that way. So I love meditation, that's my favourite. I've got a background in dance, so I was really big on yoga, but recently I've moved more into Pilates and that sort of thing. I just think anything that's making you feel really good and happy. Breath work is a big one for me. And I've always been someone that likes to eat as well as I can too. Anything that makes you feel good, I think, is part of wellness.
What's your favourite food?
Ooh, favourite food. This is going to sound really lame, but it genuinely is broccoli. I really like green vegetables. I love green vegetables and dark chocolate too.
How long have you been teaching at the National Theatre?
It's been about 5 years that I've been there now. I've been at other places before as well, but there I've been there for about 5 years. I've loved my time there because I work with young people all the way to adults. I work in film and theatre, so it's a really beautiful cross section. All of the classes there are diverse and welcoming of everybody as well. So it's a really beautiful space to be in. And I think my favourite class is the adults intro because it's people who always wanted to be actors coming and doing it for the first time. So they're my favourite classes.
Eliza, can you give me any name? Can you do any name dropping for me?
I think most of the actors that I would have worked with primarily theatre, so you may not super know of them. This isn't someone that I know personally, but my partner who's not an actor, we were at the airport the other week. We went on a holiday, but he was there pointing someone out and he was like, I think I know who that person is. And I was like, I have no idea who that is. And it turned out it was an actor called Travis Fimmel, if you know, who he's done Dune and Vikings and all of these. He's probably right now one of the most successful Australian actors.
How are your two children?
I do have one child. I have a little baby called Elby, who's about to turn 1, and it's probably the funnest thing I've ever done, I think, is having a little baby. It means I get to play all the time and listen to Disney too.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
You like Disney music?
I love Disney music. I play it all the time, and he's a good reason for me to keep playing it. So he has to. His favourite song actually is from the first Moana.
Can you tell me a bit about sim patient?
So being a sim patient is one of the jobs I have. So basically when you've got real doctors, they're not actors, they are real ones, when they're sitting for their exams to be able to practice, they have to go through these tests. So basically you've got actors who are learning all these different things, and then we're pretending to be their patient. And so there's a place that's set up and it's got all these fake doctors' rooms, it's got a fake hospital room, and we just make it seem like it's real life for them, and they come in and they take care of us, and then hopefully they get to go off and be doctors. But so we learn a whole big script, we often have a costume for it, and it's pretty fun. It's a pretty fun job to do as a sim patient.
What do you like to do in your spare time?
In my spare time, to be honest, I love creativity. So if I'm not doing something acting, I'm probably watching something to do with acting or reading scripts or that sorts of thing. But I love the outdoors. So I love hiking. I really love just being in nature. My partner and my baby both like being outside quite a lot, so we like going to the beach. Anything where I'm outside and there's water or trees or sunshine is perfect for me.
What is your favourite commercial?
Yeah, I like doing ones that have really big budgets and big sets, to be honest, because it's really fun and exciting. You turn up and there's lots and lots of people. So I've done an Office X one and an AGL one that were really big. So I enjoy them just because it's fun when there's lots of lights and cameras and everything everywhere.
And what production have you been on?
A bunch of different things. I think TV things that you'd recognise. I've done little parts on like Neighbours, that sort of stuff. With theatre, I've done a couple of versions of Dirty Dancing, some fun ones like that. Things I've done the most is independent films. So I've probably done about 20. I won't bore you with the names of those ones. So a lovely mix. That's the funnest part, is we get to do different things all the time.
What has been your favourite one?
Oh, my favourite, I think, would probably, can I have two?
Yes, you
Okay,
can.
I did a play called Long Red Road, and I had a character and I fell in love with her. She was such a sweetheart, so I loved that one. And I did an immersive version of Dirty Dancing, which meant the audience could come up to us, and that was wild and fun. So that was probably my favourite too.
Wow, what an amazing lady Eliza is. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. We've learned so much.